Freedom students, how have you been? Last time we were together, we talked about what our job is when we know people, whether it's friends or families, that don't know Jesus. We talked about how it's our job to live out his love for us. It's our job to pull those people into groups, bring them on Sunday and student nights, and tell them about everything that God has done in our life. Now, when we're doing those things, we're fulfilling, we are fulfilling. And when we're doing those things, we are fulfilling our purpose. But tonight, I want to talk about the flip side of that coin. What do we do when we mess up? And we all do it. It's not just you. I mess up every single day. If you think I'm joking, just talk to my wife, Natalie. But sometimes we can screw up in big ways. Sometimes we can make such big mistakes, we feel like there's no coming back from it. So for this topic, I want to talk to you about a guy named Peter. He was one of Jesus' closest friends, and this dude screwed up a ton. He was constantly putting his foot in his mouth. But I want to point you to a story where he has a major screw up. It's so big, massive. But I need to give you a little bit of context first. So Jesus has just been arrested and is being taken to see the high priest to be condemned to death on the cross. Peter steps into the room, and a servant girl in the room asks Peter a question. And this is where everything goes wrong for Peter. John 18:17 is where we're picking up. You aren't one of this man's disciples too, are you? She asked Peter. He replied, I am not. Now hold up. Did Peter just deny following or knowing Jesus? Yup. He was confronted by a little girl and straight up denied knowing Jesus. But wait, it gets worse. He denies Jesus 2 more times for a grand total of 3 denials. Peter, one of the 12 people that Jesus handpicked to do life with, in the moment that Jesus needed his support the most, denied any connection to him. I mean, what a blow to their relationship. Then not long after that happened, Jesus was crucified. Peter never got a chance to say sorry. He never got a chance to fix it. So what does Peter do? He returns to what he had been doing before Jesus ever showed up. He went back to fishing. He let go of everything that Jesus had given to him. He let go of his faith, and he went straight back to the life before Jesus. And what does Jesus do? He meets Peter where he was and called him back home. You see, Jesus dies, but then he comes back to life and he goes to the beach where Peter and some other dudes are fishing. They had been fishing for a while and hadn't really caught much. So Jesus calls out to them from the beach. He's like, hey, try putting your nets on the other side of the boat. Now they didn't know it was Jesus, but they listened. And when they listened, they caught so many fish that they could barely get the nets back into the boat. Peter realized at this moment that the man on the beach was Jesus. So he jumped out of the boat and swam to shore. Peter runs up to Jesus, and Jesus is sitting there cooking some food, like, what's up? I've got breakfast. He gives the guys some food, and then he asks Peter this question. Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Yes, Lord. He said, you know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And then Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The third time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him a third time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my sheep. Okay, so you might be thinking Jesus is like a really insecure friend, but there was a purpose in the 3 questions. He asked Peter 3 times because Peter denied Jesus 3 times. So it was Jesus having this kind of weird sense of humor, but there was also much more purpose in those questions. Jesus was reminding Peter of his faith. He was reminding Peter of his love for Jesus, and he was bringing Peter back to his calling. So this is more of a what not to do story. What do you not do when you mess up? Don't think that your mistake is too big for God to forgive. Jesus died for the forgiveness of all sin, every single mistake ever. Also, don't make the mistake of thinking that you messed up, so you might as well just go back to the way you were before. That is a lie. You are never too far gone. You will also never be perfect, so understand that mistakes will be made and just do your best to grow and learn from them. Because God has made you for such a massive, incredible purpose that is specific to you. So do not walk away. So knowing what not to do, we can figure out what we should do when we mess up. First, we ask God to forgive us. Then we forgive ourselves. Then we let it go and keep walking. We have to keep walking forward in our relationship and our faith with Jesus. We have to keep walking in our purpose. We can't hold the mistakes of our past against the potential of our future. God's plans are too important for you to limit yourself because of your mistakes.